Opening activity. Let us begin with a short pause. Please stop the video for a moment and ask yourself a very important question. What am I feeling right now? Try not to give the automatic answer, I'm fine. Very often, I'm fine is not really an emotion. It is just a quick response we use without thinking. In this module, we are learning how to respond instead of react, and that begins by noticing what is happening inside us. So, be more specific. Are you calm, tired, excited, stressed, irritated, hopeful, or distracted? The more clearly you can identify your feeling, the better you can understand yourself. This opening activity prepares you for the next slides, where we will build a stronger emotional vocabulary. Emotion vocabulary. Let us now look at emotion vocabulary connected to feeling happy. Happiness is a broad category, but it can show up in different ways. For example, you might feel excited before an event, peaceful during a quiet moment, proud after doing something well, hopeful about the future, or grateful for something meaningful in your life. These are not all exactly the same, even though they are all positive emotions. This is important because the more precise your language is, the more accurately you can describe your inner experience. In the next few slides, we will do the same thing for other emotional categories, so you can see that emotions are more detailed than just good or bad. Sad. Now let us explore sadness. Sadness can also take different forms. You might feel lonely when you feel disconnected from others. You might feel disappointed when something did not go the way you expected. You might feel hurt because of someone's words or actions. You might feel discouraged when things feel difficult and progress seems slow. These words matter because each one points to a slightly different experience. If you can tell whether you are lonely, disappointed, hurt, or discouraged, you are already taking a step toward understanding what you need. As we continue, you will notice that the same idea applies to anger and fear as well. Angry. Let us now look at anger. Anger is also not just one simple feeling. Sometimes you may feel frustrated when something blocks your goal. Sometimes you may feel irritated by repeated small problems. You may feel annoyed by a situation or a person, or resentful when you feel something is unfair or when hurt has built up over time. These differences are useful to notice. For example, being mildly annoyed is not the same as feeling deeply resentful. If you treat every angry feeling as the same, you may react too strongly or miss what is really bothering you. This is why emotional awareness is such an important skill. Next, we will look at emotions connected to fear. Fearful. Now let us consider fearful emotions. Fear does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it appears as nervousness before a test or presentation. Sometimes it feels like worry about what might happen. At other times, it can feel overwhelming, as if too many things are happening at once. You might also feel uncertain when you do not know what to expect or what decision to make. These are all forms of fearful emotion. Recognizing them helps you slow down and respond wisely, rather than reacting automatically. By this point, you can see that naming emotions with more detail gives you a clearer picture of your mental and emotional state. That leads us to an important scientific idea in the next slide. Explain. Research shows that simply naming emotions can reduce their intensity. This is a powerful finding. When you pause and put your feeling into words, your mind becomes more organized. Instead of being fully caught inside the emotion, you begin to observe it. This skill is called affect labeling. In simple terms, affect labeling means naming what you feel. For example, saying, "I feel nervous," or "I feel frustrated," can help create a little space between you and the emotion. That space is important. It gives you a better chance to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting immediately. So, after learning different emotion words in the previous slides, you are now ready to practice this skill directly. Exercise. Let us now turn this into a personal exercise. Complete the sentence, "Right now I feel," because this structure is helpful because it encourages both awareness and reflection. First, you name the emotion. Then you gently explore the reason behind it. For example, you might say, "Right now I feel overwhelmed because I have too many assignments," or "Right now I feel hopeful because I am making progress." Try to be honest and specific. There is no need to judge yourself for what you feel. The goal is simply to notice and name your experience. This exercise brings together everything from the earlier slides and prepares us for the main lesson of this module. Key takeaway. Here is the key takeaway. You cannot manage an emotion you have not noticed. This idea is at the heart of mindful emotional awareness. Before you can calm yourself, communicate clearly, or make a wise decision, you first need to recognize what you are feeling. That is why this module began with a pause, then moved into emotional vocabulary, then introduced the science of affect labeling, and finally gave you a simple practice. When you notice and name your emotions, you create the possibility of choice. And that is how you begin to respond instead of react.